I've been working on trying to get Jeff's engine set up. He has the different kind of fuel injectors and a different fuel rail, different fuel regulator versus a stock setup. I was having some problems. I'm going to go back and revisit in a few minutes, but I wanted to document this first. I just ran this on the 88, that's the higher bit rate computer versus the 86. The 88 also has more diagnostics. You have to like select mode 2 if you want to see the air fuel going on and off in the compensating mixture. This one is just either looking at the air fuel compensating mixture or you're looking at the self-diagnostics, which tells you what sensors are hooked up or not connected. That's the only real difference between those two. The other thing I did was on this one, I'm using the Jeff supplied MAF with no adjuster here. Okay, in other words, this is, I think they call it California one or whatever. But on this one, the A circuit doesn't connect up to anything. Now, I have the A circuit wire here, and normally this goes to a exhaust gas temperature sensor on the California car, or not at all if it's non-California. I'm not sure how that's supposed to work. But since this type here with the plug is recessed means there's no connection on connection A, I would use this MAF when I'm using the 88. When I'm using the 86, I use this MAF, which has the plug in it, which behind there is a pot to adjust, and that A is connected in circuit, and it reads about 500 ohms next to B. So I didn't try running this MAF with this one. If I was going to do that, I would simply, and I may just put a bullet connector on that yellow-green so you can plug it in or unplug it depending on which computer you're running. But right now the plan is the 86 for me and the 88 for Jeff. But I wanted to make sure that that was working the same with either one on my setup. The only variation between these two setups is which MAF I'm using. I didn't bother, like I said, I could probably putting this in and trying it, but I didn't want to do that because it's not supposed to be hooked up that way. The only other thing that's kind of odd, and maybe this may be helpful, I don't know, is I noticed that the compensating mixture on both of these seemed to become more active, i.e. it blinked at the same time as the green. Now, the green on is rich, green off is, the other way. The green LED on means you're in a lean condition. When the green LED off, and you're in closed loop, that means it's rich. So off is rich, on is lean when it's in closed loop. And the target is to have the red LED blink the same rate as the green. So whenever it sees a lean condition, the red light says add some. When it sees a rich condition, the red light goes out, the green light goes out, so it takes them away. It all seems to be working just fine, although I did notice that it's a little bit lazy on the startup when you're just throttling up and down playing with it until you flick the speed sensor a few times. So I don't know if the speed sensor, according to the book, the speed sensor has something to do with the air fuel mix. So I'm really thinking that really should be active. And what I do is I click it a few times, click those two wires together, and that makes it clear right up and it starts blinking immediately. If I don't, it's a little bit lazy. It'll still do it, but the red light's a little slower to react to the green light when it comes on to compensate. So again, I don't know if that's significant or not. I don't know what the fix is for that. Beats me. A couple things I've been thinking about doing though, since we're running these things modified, but it doesn't have all the normal sensors that it has in the 300ZX on this 280ZX. I'm thinking one of the things you might be able to do to deal with it is, and keep the compensating mixture in line, would be, well, you could intentionally run the mixture a little bit on the rich side. In other words, if the green light's always on, and it's just like really slow to react to that, is lean, and if your air fuel mixture says it's lean, maybe the thing to do there would be to add some resistance to the cylinder head temperature sensor and make it a little bit higher resistance so it always thinks it's a little bit colder, and it could add a little bit of fuel mix there, kind of to fool it. Right now I'm working on, I think the speed sensor has something to do. Again, the speed sensor tells you have a load. If it's idling, you're not going anywhere. If you rev it up and the car doesn't think you're going anywhere, I think it might intentionally hold back some of the enrichment. So to me, I think the speed sensor needs to be active, especially since the FSM shows it as part of the air fuel mix calculation. I mean, that's all I have to go on. So I'm working on that. So I'm going to talk to Jeff about getting a reading on what that is. And the only way I can think to do that is, since I don't know the specs, is he has a 300ZX. I'm going to prop up the rear wheels, hook up a meter to the output from the speed sensor, which is just basically a reed switch, if I understand it right. It turns it on and off. And spin the wheels and see if we can get a reading. I'm hoping he has a non-digital dash, as an analog dash with a needle, you know, the moving needle, because that showed a reed switch involved. So the idea is, if we spin the wheel rotation one time, how many times does a reed switch go on and off? Is it one on off per revolution, or is it 12? You know, who knows? I don't know. I know one thing. I don't want to go too high on it, because that'll indicate too high a speed, and it might try to limit the thing. I think there's an auto cutoff, a fuel shutoff, when you get over 130 miles an hour or something like that. So obviously it's important. And if it's just as simple as a speed sensor, heck, you can get a magnetic reed switch and attach it to the rear wheel and go down there by where the half shaft is and put a little magnet there, and boom, you got yourself a speed sensor that's accurate and should be close to what the system's looking for. If it's not that imperative, I'll just hook up a relay. I'll hook it up to a buzzer and just buzz it on and off at a fixed amount, you know, maybe pick 60 miles an hour. Excuse me. So anytime the car's on, it's just enriching based on that thing. Yeah. Maybe it could be triggered by the speed sensor built into the 280Z, which is simply over 10 miles an hour, it's like on or off. It doesn't switch, it just goes on or off when you get over or under 10. So you could use that to trigger the relay oscillator and make it think it's running. I don't know, there's a lot of, but that's, the forums say this doesn't matter, so I don't know. So anyway, yeah, this starts up fine now. I mean, I just started a minute ago. Let's set the timing to like 18 degrees. This should start blinking pretty quick because it's already kind of warmed up. Idle's nice. This will start blinking like I'll wait for it. Mode 2. We just hit the speed sensor a few times, see if that makes any difference. I mean, it might be mode 1, which means the red light doesn't come on. So now I'm triggering to make it think it's going somewhere. Okay, that red light's on. Let's change the mode. So to change the mode, you have to get in here, turn this switch while watching that. So I'm going to turn it to, see what's in mode 1. Ready? 1, 2. That's what I want. Now I'm in mode 2. So now the red light is active. It should be matching green. See how it's kind of lazy? Now I'll flick the speed sensor a few times. Ah, fudge. Hold on. There it goes. Now it's doing its thing. Now it's matching up everything. I'll flick the speed sensor. So anyway, that's how that works. This air fuel ratio at idle. That's what the map is working. Now let's speed it up, see how it moves. well now. And again, that's with my setup. So the next setup I'll do is I'll put in the 86. Well, I already did it, but it works exactly the same way. So my goal was, can I use this MAF with the 88, the titanium plug? That's a 12 millimeter. Yeah, I think it's 12 millimeter 1.25 O2 sensor, and everything works perfect with my setup. Stock AFM, stock fuel rail, fuel temperature sensor hooked up, detonator sensor hooked up. Now this is interesting. I'm not using the cylinder head temperature sensor here. I'm using the one that plugs in to the right in there into the thermostat housing. So it's a little bit different, but I've already tested them. They're within 20 ohms of each other as far as temperature reading. So I think it works just fine like this. So I'll do another run with the 86, and I'll post that up later. But the fact is, we know that my setup works with the 88, with that MAF, blah, 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 right? So if that's the case, if we plug that in to here on Jeff's engine, if it doesn't work the same, the only real variation between Jeff's engine and my engine is the injectors. Now, granted, it does not have the same air fuel, the regulator, the fuel pressure regulator, but I mean, it works. It's set up and it works like it's supposed to, so I don't think that's an issue. So the only thing I can think of that could affect it would be if there's something about the injectors, that, they're a higher flow rate for sure, and is it just beyond the capability of the O2 sensor to compensate? It may be. That red light comes on and goes off. If it stays on or it stays off, it has to do with saying beyond a 5% compensation, like maybe it just can't do it. So if these are flowing too much, I would think if anything, the light would stay off, the red light would stay off all the time because it's already super rich. See what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know that much about it. But anyway, that's where we are. I wanted to verify that I know that computer works with that airflow meter. That was the mass airflow. That's the main thing why I did this, which is make sure I have a good setup here. I set the timing to base like 17 degrees. So anyway, that's it for now. Talk to you later. Bye.